Hi, everyone. It's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions. Today, we have a really fun episode. I do a reading for a listener named Keri. And funny thing about that, she ends up doing a reading for me. So I want you to engage, listen, and then I'm going to see you on the other side of that reading. Let's dive in. Hi, Keri. Welcome to Soul Sessions.
Hi, Amanda.
I'm
I'm
so,
so happy.
we're both like, I'm so happy to
I
have
just
you
want
here
to reach and hug you.
and give you a hug. It is
Yeah.
so delightful to see your beautiful face. Will you introduce yourself to everyone and tell everybody what you're curious about, what you want to dive into a little bit today?
Well, I'm Keri and I'm living in California, in Chico, California. And I listen to you all the time and I just learned so much from you and love you so much. As you know, I have had a lot of loss, right? Not seen my kids a whole lot and everything shifted. And I'm just trusting the magic of the universe. But my career, I want to step into something else, right? So I want to know the most productive actions to take, the most effective for my highest timeline, for the highest good. As you know, I have a lot of spiritual guides and guidance. So I just want some clarity.
Absolutely. And thank
Yeah.
you so much for that. And just for everybody listening out there, Keri has an uncanny ability to really see signs and synchronicities. And I talk about this with everyone for important for me, important for all of us. The moment we go into skepticism, cynicism, doubt, like, that didn't mean anything. No, I just made that up in my head. Keri has an uncanny ability not to do that and to go with every single sign and synchronicity. And it does not mean her head is just so far up in the clouds that she is ungrounded. It's more like she thinks something and it shows up. You have a very quick knack for that. And what they're showing me as far as life and your career and the direction you're taking is they're saying it is important that you start to fine tune your clarity around when you are your most joyful, when you're your most comfortable in your own voice and with your gifts that have been coming through as far as your intuition. You're able to really connect with animals. You have like a beautiful connection to animals, animal totem, animal energy, but it's almost like when you think about an animal, you see it, and
Yeah.
whether it manifests in real life in front of you or it shows up on your screen somewhere electronically, like it's almost like you manifest in real time with animal energy. And they are saying that you have this ability to tap into wisdom, to connect people with their spirit guides, their animal spirit guides, the animal instincts within themselves, and really getting proficient in animal medicine. Do you have that book? It's the old it's an oracle deck, and it's the Native American oracle deck. I have one, and I'll send you the name of it and we'll link it
Okay.
in these show notes.
Okay.
It's a Native American spirit animal totem book, and it has really beautiful descriptions of all sorts of spirit animals, but from a Native American perspective and an indigenous perspective. And it's super comprehensive, and it resonates in a very like an ancient sort of way. And it's almost like they want you to go through animals A to Z and just start going through animals and maybe looking up a couple of things and then intuiting what each animal means. They actually want you to do it the opposite way. They're saying,
Okay.
start with aardvark, and I just pulled aardvark out of my head, like the aardvark, they have a long nose, or an anteater. And
Hmm.
it's like, what would you say about an aardvark or an anteater? What is it that they do? What is their gift? What is their animal medicine? And like write a few things down and then either search it, through a
Okay.
search engine, or if you happen to have a deck that has an aardvark, which I can't imagine that you or
I
any of us,
do.
it has an
I
aardvark.
think I'm pretty sure my spirit
Okay.
animal. But
Okay.
today I'm in Mexico
Yeah.
and I don't know if you remember, you pulled the sandpiper when we were doing our class. And I saw a sandpiper today and it's just joyful and enjoy the magic. And I'm really trying to tap into that. Um, but
Yeah.
also make a living, Amanda.
Yes, make a living because hey, and there's so many people out there. In fact, I spoke with a woman this morning and she just did her Reiki 1 and 2 and I said, "Are you going to teach?" And she says, "Yes, I'm doing my first retreat in June." And
Yeah.
I said, "You go, girl. Like you jump in, you teach." And so what they are saying to me is you just start. And for goodness sakes, Keri is an Aries, everyone, and she's got a lot of Aries energy. And we have this flush of energy that is all around the pioneer, the primal instincts that Aries carries, these primal instincts. And they're saying it is imperative that you follow your primal instincts to begin to hold space and teach. And they're saying, and charge for it. And think about it this way, because it's really hard from the perspective of a healer, a teacher, in order to charge. You're charging for your time. And it is imperative because that's an important lesson around being a healer. If you had decided to go be a monk in this lifetime, it would be a different story. You've done that in other lifetimes. This is a lifetime where you are learning to be resourceful, to take care of yourself so you can also give back and be generous. But you do have to clothe yourself and pay for your rent and, put the food on the table, and you're not meant to be destitute. You are not meant to be destitute, and you will build relationships that support you, and sometimes financially, where people say, "Oh no, I want to pay you to do this." And when someone says, "I want to pay you to do this," you say, "Wow, thank you. I really respect and appreciate that." And you don't say, "Oh, no, 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 don't worry about it." And I mean, yes, you get to give your gifts away and there's a joy in that. And I get to do that all the time. But when someone offers to pay you, you accept it and you just start. So they're saying they really want you to go through animals A to Z and make your own
Okay.
list. And they want you to tap into each animal, just whichever ones come to mind to start. But go A through Z. And I don't know an animal that starts with a Z. And they're making me laugh because they're saying,
Zebra.
"Oh, Z, zebra." I meant X. I meant
Oh.
X. I don't know what I was thinking about X and I said Z, like my brain. But there's, yes, zebra. But they want you to do it and they want you to write out the qualities and then go do a search or pull out one of your decks and see what resonates. But they also don't want you to perfectly follow what's written or the deck. They want you to intuit new things about animals, and they're not new things. You're just listening to the animal kingdom and tapping into that animal's energy and what it is showing you. And they want you to start working with people and helping them connect with their primal energy, which is very much from the animal kingdom. So whether it is a tiger or an ant or a cricket or a butterfly, like, what parts, when you see someone's soul or someone's energy or what they're walking through, what parts of their psychology are connected to certain animals. Is this resonating? I mean, they're really
It
talking about
is
animals.
because I've just been talking to the animals and
Uh-huh.
like it's almost telepathic. Like I can hear what they're thinking.
Yes. And they're
But
saying
that's just working with the animals.
that's working with the animals. So they're saying keep doing that with animals because that's your, like, you just, when they say something, you know it and you don't question it. You go with it and you trust the telepathy of it. They want you to start practicing it with people.
Okay.
Meaning, when you get a person in front of you, it's like, what animal energy am I getting here? And that will lead you down to
Okay.
what you need to share with that person. And they just asked me to ask you to practice on me right now. Okay, so like
Okay.
first come like right now, what, and you, I don't care if you say an aardvark, whatever. Like what animal like do you
A
connect with
lion.
me? A lion.
A
Oh,
lioness.
well, like I'm like, let
Yeah.
me fix my
I
hair
know.
and get my mane together. Okay. Well, that, like, thank you. Okay, and what about the lion? They're
You're
just
just
asking you to read for me.
you're courageous. Um and you at this point in your life you know you 100%.
Oh my gosh, I'm about to cry because I was driving in the car yesterday and I was listening to something and it was talking about Aries energy. Okay, Keri is an Aries, I'm a Libra, right? We're like polarities of each other. And I was thinking about Aries, and somebody was saying, Aries, they know themselves. They know who they are. They know who they are. They just know, and they don't question it, and they know, and they go with things. And I was like, gosh, I wish I just knew who I was. And then I was laughing because I was like, but I know who I am. I had this conversation with myself yesterday in the car. Like, so you just hit
I
the
have
nail
the
on the head.
I just have the full body chills, but
Okay.
you, yeah, I'm so connected with you though. I
Well,
just,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I love it, and I hope that everybody out there recognizes that we have this ability when we connect with people and we allow people to see ourselves, to see each other, that we can share what we see. So if you don't have to just go practice out in the world, because there's this thing called energetic boundaries and ethics around mediumship, and it is important to keep a boundary. And I know a lot of people, when their gifts are really turning on and activated, they don't know those boundaries, because you at first there are no boundaries. You can't help it, it's flooding in, but at some point it is imperative for the boundaries, because it will kill your adrenal and endocrine system, and you will physically get sick, and that is an indication of it. And we need the regulation of those systems in our body for our health, our immunity, especially with what is going on in the world and the atmosphere. We have to take care of our physical body, but the mediumship, the high frequency, like we have to ground it in. But what they are showing me and showing everybody out there is, find your people, find a person or two that you can practice with. And this is not about everybody out there becoming a medium, an intuitive, a Reiki master, a healer, but it's about practicing trusting our own intuition. And sometimes, in order to do that, we need to speak it and someone validate it. And it's not because you may be a banker or you may be a CEO of a startup, and you may think that's not about your intuition, but it is about being able to intuit things, to be proficient, and to lead from your soul's voice and register. So what you just said to me, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And that was my spirit totem for last year. And I feel like I worked on it, but I was like, I don't know if I'm the lion. And so for you to say that, and then what you just said is, I know who I am. And I just had that conversation with myself yesterday when I went into self-doubt, but I'm like, but I do know who I am. So for you to say that, I needed to hear that. So you were spot on.
Well, I appreciate you. I
Yeah.
appreciate your authentic self because I look at you and I'm like, she's got it all, right?
Yeah.
But you're so authentic and honest, and you have fear just like I have fear, and it just helps me push through my fear.
Yeah. And as far as the money goes, because it's a weird thing. Like I need to have a home and be able to pay my bills and do and live life and also enjoy life. But at the same time, my work is my avocation, and your work is becoming your avocation. And it's firing and wiring. But the separation you've had the last couple of years or so has forced you to stand on your own 2 feet and remember who you are, and then you get to create community. So this separation they're showing me, that I know that you've had, like in multiple layers, they're saying the separation was necessary for you to go through the pain and the loss and the grief and suffering, to shed layers of yourself so you could get back to your voice and know that your voice is resounding. And that sandpiper energy, the playfulness, the joy of it. The animals, of course, are playful and joyful, and they want you to start being playful and joyful with people, but with your wisdom. But they're saying it's time for you to start charging. It's time for you to like start your website, or
Okay.
they want you to, like they said, work behind the scenes, figure out your name, get your LLC, whatever the business side of
Okay.
things. They're saying get down to business, girl, meaning,
Okay.
figure out your website, your LLC, and literally figure out, okay, if I'm going to give somebody a session, I'm going to do a 45-minute session. and I'm going to charge this much right now. And it's going to be,
Okay.
I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to put it out there. And when I see people out in the world, or like you being in Mexico right now on a retreat, tell people, yeah, in the next couple of months, I'm going to start doing readings, stay connected with me. Let's exchange emails. So you start telling people now, so you're accountable to it within the next 2 months, because they're saying
Okay.
within the next 2 months, like you will have sessions available, and you will be hanging your shingle essentially. And it is so much of you being able to share information and wisdom is by utilizing animal energy to help
Okay.
people connect with their own primal energy of
Okay.
like the energies within. And it may be 2 or 3 animals, and you can use a deck, like just play with it, because it'll evolve. Like you won't need a deck
Okay.
in a year, but at first, if you
Okay.
need a deck, you need a deck. I
Okay.
mean, like it's just, don't worry about the logistics or specifics or how you do it. They're saying just start
Okay. Yeah.
now, like now.
Yeah. Like, so I had July, like by July,
Well, they said in the next
and
couple of months. So there you
yeah,
go.
and
Actually,
I love it all. This is the thing. I love it all. So
yeah.
I've been in my learning phase. Like I'm just absorbing and I just am loving it. So I'm like, what's my niche, you know?
Yeah. And it's funny
Yeah.
because I had a woman say to me, gosh, a decade ago, and she taught me a lot of things. And she is really proficient at reading Akashic records. And she said to me, Amanda, she's like, you're a freestyler. She said it's kind of, and she didn't describe me as a break dancer, but when she said you're a freestyler, I thought about break dancing. And like, do you remember break dancing in the
Yeah.
1980s? Okay, so I thought
Yes.
about break dancing, and she's like, you're a freestyler. And what it means is there is not one modality that she says you take all these modalities and you meld them into your own language. The way you work and what you're doing, nobody else does it that way. And it's not, you're not going to have a mentor, a guide. There's going to be multiple guides, and you're pulling from different lineages and traditions, and you're making it your own while still being reverent and respectful to those traditions, but you're freestyling. And that's what they
Okay.
keep saying to me is think of
Okay.
yourself at your freestyling right now, because it will hone in your voice and your path. But right, it's like, but start now.
It's time
It's
now.
time.
Oh,
Now.
that's the synchronicity.
Now.
Like now it's been like in my face. Now,
Yeah.
Keri.
Now.
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 Yeah.
And they keep saying, like, while you're on this retreat, they're saying look for the iguanas, like look for the lizards.
Okay.
So lizards at like they
I
just keep
just
saying look
saw
for.
a lizard and
Okay.
I was like, oh, I'm regenerating. Like that's
Yes.
what I see. Like,
Yes, they have this, thick, tough outer shell, this reptilian shell, but inside they're like, their eyes are very like lizard iguana eyes, like they're just their eyes are kind of what fascinates me a lot of times. And if eyes are the window to the soul, you've been developing a thicker skin, meaning, it's like people can say, oh, that doesn't resonate with me. And if it doesn't resonate with them, like, don't just be like, okay, maybe they'll get it later. Maybe they'll never get it. Maybe I was totally wrong and totally
right.
off. Like, you just let it roll off your back. But they're saying connect with the lizards and the iguanas while you're there, because they are very influential in dreams and regeneration, and also like strength, like wearing your armor. And when I say wearing your armor, it's like in the Bible, the breastplate of God, the
Hmm.
courage, the love, like you've been developing your armor. And I don't mean you are shielding yourself and protecting yourself from people. It's the armor of love and compassion and wisdom. And that's what you're quote unquote fighting with. And you're not fighting, but that's what you're gifting. Is your armor is love and kindness and wisdom and empathy. And you have had to develop empathy by feeling things so deeply that now you understand people's pain in a way you wouldn't have understood it 10 years ago.
Yeah. I feel like in the last year, like I'm a whole different person. Like I'm
Yeah.
actually me. Like, and I love me. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to share.
Yeah.
whatever has helped me, I want to share it with people,
Yes.
and I'm
And it's,
excited.
yes. And do it.
Yeah.
Do it now. Like, thank you
Okay.
for what you shared with me.
Okay.
Like, I absolutely needed to hear that today. And it resonated with what I was having a conversation with myself and my soul and God yesterday. It was the whole dialogue that was going on, and you just articulated it and you did it through the line. All of it resonated. So,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Oh my
Well,
God, I love you.
I love you
Thank
too.
you.
Have an
Thank you. Thank you.
amazing trip. And thank you for coming on and sharing all
Thank
this
you.
wisdom. Okay. Take care. Wow. Thank you, Keri. That was an amazing reading. And I know that I put her on the spot and asked her to read for me, which was unintended, yet it was so spot on, poignant, and magical. And one of the things I want to point out is how she didn't hesitate. I asked her, I said, well, then what's my spirit animal? I want you to read for me. And she didn't hem and haw and get insecure. She boldly stepped right into what came to her first. And as you all heard, it deeply resonated with me. And I really want to thank Keri for putting herself out there and the messages that came through. So many of them, I think we can all resonate with. Deep sense of loss and change and navigating the hard things in life. Yet through that difficult navigation, finding a deeper connection with self, soul, and source. And that is truly a testament to who she is and what she's walked through. And she and I have talked about this, is putting her newfound or evolved spiritual path into practice, into play, practicing it in the real world, in real life experiences. And one of the things that I love that came through is talking about putting your armor on. And we weren't talking about the armor of fighting and aggression and fear, things coming from a lower frequency. We were talking about the armor of compassion, love, facing your fears, showing up more empathically and intuitively, and following your soul, following your voice. She's a beautiful example of that. The other thing that really is mind blowing to me, and y'all, I've been doing readings for people a long time, and I am mind blown often. It's one of the things that I love about what I get to do, is that I never cease to be amazed by what spirit and souls have to share. In all the readings I've done, I've never had the guides and the soul come through and say, you need to read spirit animals, you need to do it this way, this is how you do it, and follow through. This is your gift, this is your medicine, this is your language to break through and into someone's soul and the divine. And she has that gift, and it's something that she can and will share. So, as a special note, before I dive into a couple of other things as we wrap up this podcast, Keri has boldly accepted the challenge, the opportunity to offer you all sessions and readings, spirit, animal, soul sessions. So you can reach out to her personally. If you want to get in touch with Keri, get a soul, spirit, animal reading, do it. I think it would be amazing to get her wisdom and insight for you. It will give her practice, but she's opening herself up to doing readings. So if you look in the show notes in the description, her email is there. Reach out to Keri, and I have a feeling it's first come, first serve. So reach out, email her, and set up a session, set up a spirit animal reading and intuitive session with Keri. I think it will be highly beneficial, and you will enjoy connecting with her, because she is gifted in her abilities and in her wisdom that comes through in a multitude of ways. So, what I want to do is I want to pull a spirit animal card. This month, I did not do an oracle card pull. It just, the way that things worked out, I didn't pull a card. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a spirit animal oracle card, and I'm using Colette Baron Reed's spirit animal oracle deck. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this here. I've had this deck for a while. I often recommend this deck to people for a multitude of reasons. It's an exceptional deck. It's beautifully channeled and written, but more than anything, the illustrations on these cards are absolutely stunning. I mean, here's the pig spirit animal. Look how beautiful this little pig is. And I love the wisdom and information that comes through, but it is really well done. And I find, and it's funny, this is one of those decks that I think Colette Baron Reed said the numerology does not coordinate with the message in the card. I find that actually to not be true. I find numbers in the number meanings in each of the cards. Anytime I pull them, they always have messages for me too. So I've shared that with you all before. If there is a number on a card that you pull, look at the numerology of it. How does it speak to you? What is the numerology saying apart from what is the actual oracle card saying to you? So let's pull a card for the second half of May and some guidance for all of us, a spirit animal for all of us to follow and get some messages and meaning from. I've already cleared this deck, by the way. It's been sitting on my desk the last week, and I've used it a handful of times for myself, but I cleared the energy on it already. So there's a card that just pulled out. Oh my gosh. Yo, this is like this is so crazy. I know I sound like a child at Christmas and like I'm making this up, but I'm totally not. The card that flew out is the sandpiper spirit animal. And Keri, she talks about the sandpiper spirit animal in her session because I pulled this card for her last year. And so, y'all, this is a huge deck, and this card fell out. I mean, is this not amazing? And I, just so you know, I am recording the outro, the second part of this podcast at a later date than when I did the session with Keri. And if you're following on YouTube, you can tell because my hair is blonde earlier in the podcast with Keri, and now it's brown. Yes, I've gone back to my roots. My hair is brown and I'm loving it. It took me a hot minute, but it was just something that I needed to do. I wasn't having a psychotic break. I just needed a little bit of change of personality and something to create a refresh. But the sandpiper spirit. Okay, so this message is for all of us, but it definitely connects with Keri and her energy. Again, like I shared with you, and what came through in Keri's session is she's great at signs and synchronicities. And to me, this just resonates with her energy. So the sandpiper spirit, if you can see this card and you're looking on YouTube, it's so playful and lovely. And the message of the sandpiper is to be playful. The number on the card is 51. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but I pulled the card upright. So the message is as simple as that. Be playful. Allow your joy to rise to the surface. And if you think of a sandpiper, anytime you've gone to the beach and been walking along the beach, you can imagine the sandpipers. They kind of scurry around and go up and down, and they follow the water and the flow of the tide, and they kind of go in and out and they scurry. They're kind of like squirrel energy a little bit. Squirrels are very, they jump around from here to there. Sandpipers do as well, but there's an elegance with sandpiper energy because of the beach and the water, and they're fluid and flexible. The numerology on this card is 51. The anchor number is the 5. 5 is the energy that we are in May. It is a 5-month in numerology, which is all about shifts in perspective, flexibility, changing your heart and changing your mind, and then following through. And the 1 is about, what do I do? How do I do it? And 5 + 1 = 6. And the number of 6, the 6 is about wisdom. It is about self-care. So if we think about a portion of our self-care in our playfulness, and many of us do not logically go to playfulness, silliness, fun, and joy to being self-care. I do. But I have had to work at that. And I know that sounds so backwards, but I wax intense. I wax serious and focused and driven So oftentimes I have learned to say, today's going to be delightful. I am looking to be playful. I'm looking for joy. Everything on my plate gets accomplished with joy and lightheartedness. That's the message of this card. And I'll flip to the book just to give us a little bit more detail. And in Colette Barron's Reed's message, because they're beautifully written and poignant. Here's what it says. Sandpipers are like cute little clowns poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of sandpiper spirit is a sign that now is time to engage in your playfulness. Whatever task you have before you, perform them with a lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new in the old. That's just like the energy of the five. How can I see things through a different lens, even if it's the begrudging energy of the day to day task, right? Who knows what treasures await you when you let yourself laugh and have fun? Sandpiper Spirit's happy and curious nature can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. I think this is also lovely because the last third of the month, the sun will shift into Gemini. And Gemini, while it is the investigative journalist of the zodiac, it's curious. It can be superficial and playful and social, skim the surface. So this card is reminding us sometimes we've got to come up and skim the surface, be light, blow life off for a hot minute. I don't mean you run away from your problems. I mean, take a break, go play, go have fun. And sometimes that fun for me, it may be in 20 minutes of just going and playing with the dogs. My dogs can rejuvenate me in a very short period of time. Being silly, picking up the phone and calling someone who just makes you laugh, planning a dinner with friends in the middle of the week just to break up your schedule and spend quality, fun time with people you enjoy being around. Think about ways you can bust up patterns, but that add playfulness, because that playfulness will add value. And back to the energy of the six, the 51, the numerology on this card. If our self care this month relates to playfulness, how can you think about when you are playful, silly, and joyful, and how that has created a sense of nurture and care for you? I know for me, when I am around people who truly allow me to just be Amanda and be silly, lighthearted, goofy, and also entertain my immature sense of humor, because I have a very immature sense of humor, like a 12-year-old boy kind of humor. I literally do. But there is nothing more delightful and disgusting about me when I laugh my behind off and I am just wrong and silly and goofy. And when I do that, my spirit revitalizes. The creativity comes in, or the vitality to accomplish and do the litany of things on my plate. So think about engaging with sandpiper energy this month and how you can enjoy yourself, adding enjoyment into your day. I also encourage everyone to pull an animal card for yourself. I hope you all have some kind of animal deck. There are multiple animal oracle decks, but pull a card for yourself. And if you don't have an animal deck, look for an animal to show you a sign. Ask them today, like while you are out and about, show me which animal is coming into my periphery. And remember, yes, it could be a hawk that flies in front of your car, or you could be scrolling Instagram and a panda bear shows up and you're like, that's what it is. It's the panda bear. Let me search panda bear spirit animal meaning. So pick an animal to go with sandpiper for you that will clarify the personal meaning of this and give you more to your story the second half of this month. And then if you want to go deeper and get a spirit animal intuitive session, reach out to Keri. Again, her email is in the show notes. Reach out to her, first come, first serve, and see what guidance she has to give as far as an animal that is guiding you right now and the medicine that you can tap into. I think animals are such a beautiful place. Nature is a beautiful place for us to connect with ourselves and to find all of those clues that are being reflected back to us about our own personal journey and evolution. So have fun, be playful, and share your playfulness with others. Don't keep that all to yourself. Share it with other people. All right, everyone, take care and be well.